So we're completely off the throttle now. That camera exaggerates our descent a little bit. I think the game's being dramatic. Okay, so hello everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Last time we were on here, I rage quit, admittedly. I said I was going to get on VATSIM, and today is the day. I've got connected via this thing, vPilot. We're going to be trying to give it a go today. I've got everything set up as far as I know. I'm ready to take notes down and all sorts. We're going to be taking off from Liverpool. We're just going to be going down to Hawarden, EGNL. We're going to be heading down this way, just in the citation to do a hop, just to get used to VATSIM and so on. I wanted to do this behind the scenes so I don't make a clot of myself, but at the same time, I thought it's good to record this live and show you the trials and tribulations of doing this. And that would have been a great idea, but unfortunately it didn't work out. Hello everybody, Future Chaz here, coming to you weeks after recording this. I'm afraid for some reason my mic audio has come through ridiculously quiet here, and I don't really know why. It was registering fine at the time on OBS, which I used to record, but it's all a one track, and being honest, this goes nowhere. Eventually I gave it 2 attempts to depart from Manchester with full ATC coverage, but had a nightmare with flight plans, departures, waypoints and so on, as I still clearly needed to learn the working title Citation CJ4. It was, however, awesome to hear some ATC and interact with them, as you'll see here, but as you'll also see, the volume imbalance is vast. Prepare your ears. EGCC tower is on 118. 118, Chaz, come on. Decimal 625. I'll get that in com 1.
Hold at Delta Zulu 1, Osprey 145.
That's loud. Manchester Tower, ExecJet 19 Charlie, looking to pick up my IFR flight plan to Hawarden.
ExecJet Tower, pick it up and then ground on line, please, 121.850.
121.850, ExecJet 19 Charlie. Oh, I did a thing! After an hour and 40 minutes, I'd taxied to a holding point, been given a different departure that I couldn't figure out how to plumb in, and admittedly I gave up. But I didn't want to hide any of this from you though. You know, I wanted to go through the trials and tribulations and show you how all of this works and the fact that it's not always plain sailing. But what we're going to do now is skip on to the next video I recorded, and hopefully we can enjoy a lovely flight together. Hello everybody, welcome to Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome to another episode of Google Chrome. This is SimBrief by Navigraph, which is what I use to make all my flight plans for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, I'm using an iPad, so I get to use the charts on here, which really helps me out and is a lot easier when it comes to VATSIM stuff, because I've spent a bit of time since the last video learning VATSIM a little bit more, and not as such learning VATSIM, but just learning how to properly fly and get all the kit that you need. I've been using VATSPy, which you see here, which helps you look at all the ATC that's online, so you get ground, tower, and ATIS, I believe it is. You get all sorts of stuff on here. It's really, really cool to look at. I've also been using, of course, FSLTL for the traffic and the model matching that we've seen before. And I've also been using the Navigraph Symlink, which is down here, which basically means that when I've got the iPad on here, I'll show you in a little bit actually, but when you've got the iPad on or any other device with your charts on, so you can see whereabouts you're sort of supposed to be going, or, you know, just looking at taxiways for an airport, for example, if you're not familiar with it, it links your simulator via the internet to SimBrief or to Navigraph. So a little icon appears showing you where your aircraft is and which way you're pointing. Even on an iPad, and it updates live, and it's really cool, and I didn't know it did that. So you can have the chart as if it's an A4 document, and you can see on that document roughly where you are at the time, which way you're facing, and it's just amazing. And then you can even apply that document to the map, so it sort of overlays it almost transparently, so you can see where it applies to other things around it. It's awesome, really awesome. We're going to be setting ourselves up for a flight here because Microsoft Flight Simulator is updating in the background, and my PC is also moving my entire rFactor 2 folder over because I'm doing a bit of work for a company at the moment that uses rFactor 2. I've used one of their accounts for Steam, and it's installed everything on my S drive, and it almost bricked my PC before because I had like 4 megabytes left on the hard drive that I was using. So we're doing this while all of that sets up in the background, and I wanted to walk you through this. I don't know the most about this. As you can see, I've done a couple of flights over the last few days just to muck about and see what was what. We're literally talking like, look, half hour, 20-minute hops. We're going to go up here to new flight, and what we're going to be doing today is flying as ExecJet 19 Charlie we're going to be going from LFBO, which is Toulouse, which is where we should have landed last time. Well, a couple of episodes ago, this one. And now we are going to LFRB. Now, I wanted to fly back to the UK and do a series of videos where we take the citation back to the UK, but not in one big flight, because I don't have a massive chunk of time like that to sort of risk getting it wrong over on VATSIM. So we're going to be going into the Cessna Citation CJ4 once again, GCDMB, and we're going to be flinging it over to LFRB, as you see here. This is going to be part of the sort of longer journey back to storing it at Manchester for a little bit, because eventually I do want to move on to bigger aircraft and maybe hop back into the Bonanza again at some point soon. We're just going to keep all this as it is. I'm not going to muck about with any of this sort of stuff. It says it'll take about 1 hour 50 minutes to get up there, departing on runway 32 right, arriving on 25 left. We're going to be going on the LACO 6B departure by the look of it, or LACO, and we're going to be on the ROSPO arrival. As far as I know, that's pretty much all there is to it. Now, the best thing is you don't have to download this file and then load it in Microsoft Flight Simulator. If I load up the iPad here, you can often just generate the flight in SimBrief on your PC or wherever you use it, and then you go into your charts on here where it shows you everything you need. You can click import flight and import from SimBrief, and it gives you a list of flights that you've made. So you've got all of my sort of Manchester to Hawarden and Stansted ones on there. You just hit import flight, it'll bring in the flight plans you've got online on here, and it'll do it. I mean, actually, I don't know why I'm sort of stalling this, but I can just show you right now. We click that, generate flight. It does it on there. It shows you everything you need. Initial altitude 43,000 feet, so we're really going to be cruising high up today, which is really good. Someone in the comments in one of my other videos said that you really need to cruise very high in these private jets to go really quickly. And then if I go into import flight on here, import from SimBrief, there it is, LFBO to LFRB. So you click that, download it, and then you should see, boom. That's it. It's so cool. It is so cool. But then you can go on all of these things. So you can click on the little chart icon there for LFBO, and then you get everything for it. So you click taxi for your charts to taxi in, please. And then you just get airport info. And then it shows you, you get all of your charts and your taxiways and all sorts. I just absolutely love it. So if you want to look at the departure, you put open chart overlay. So you've got the whole world map, but then it puts the A4 document over it like that, so you can see where you're supposed to be going. You zoom in and it'll show you where the aircraft is. It's just awesome. Really awesome. So we're going to be using those today, and I'm going to have them down here on the iPad. And now we're going to jump in. So we go to world map. We then go all the way down here to, where is Toulouse? Oh, it's along here. There it is. Toulouse. Oh, God. Now, I need to remember where we parked last time. On here somewhere. We're supposed to be on here anyway. This is where a lot of the GA stuff goes. I think last time I flew into Toulouse and tested it, I parked along here, ramp 30, or I think it was ramp 26 actually. So we'll go there. We'll make sure we've got GCDMB on the name. We've got ExecJet 26 Delta showing up on there, but to be fair, we don't really need to worry about that too much. I'm just going to put that back in and put 19 Charlie, because that's the flight number that we are flying today. And as far as I know, that is that. Now, when it comes to connecting to VATSIM, I use vPilot, which I will open on here actually. I forgot about that as well. There's a lot of apps and things that you need to use, but it all works hand in hand very, very well. So if you've not seen it before, this is vPilot. You connect via this. It's just doing something at the moment and won't let me connect for some reason. There you go. You see it's connected to the simulator now as well, so it knows where I am. If I... Ooh, is it showing my aircraft on the iPad yet so I can show you that? No, it's not. Oh yeah, because we're not in. So you connect via that. Put your call sign in. We are going to be EJA19C. We are a C25C citation. Command failed. Please ensure a flight... Oh yeah, you have to do this first. And instantly, you can see down there, just down here, a little pink arrow. I don't know if it's going to auto-expose. There's a little pink... Oh, God. Little pink arrow there to show where our plane is and which way we are facing. We don't have any air traffic control, though, unfortunately, all the way there. We just have to use Unicom, which is 122.8, and just sort of let everybody know what we're doing and when we vacate the runway, when we're departing, and so on. So we're going to be departing runway 32 right. We're going to be arriving runway 25 left. Still have to put quite a bit of flight plan stuff. Whoa. It's very gloomy. Wow. Very gloomy here in France. But there is GCDMB. The love of my life. We still have to put quite a bit of flight plan stuff into the aircraft. So before all of this kicks off at me, we need to make sure that we get stuff going before the battery dies. Beacon and nav light coming on. Let's go down here then and crack on with this, shall we? So position initialize. You just double click that. And then we have to put in the flight plan. So we are going from LFBO today. And we are going into LFRB. I'm doing that thing again where I'm trying to explain halfway through something. And I'm not going to give you the right information here. So what we're going to be doing is on this page you can put departures and arrivals in. I was putting loads of waypoints in, almost every waypoint in manually before, and you don't have to do that. You can just do it on here because it has the current AirAC cycle. If you pay for Navigraph like I've started doing, you get everything updated into your game as well. So we're going to be going on the LACO 6B departure, which is this one. And we're going to be on runway 32 right. So you then go to departures and arrivals again, and in LFRB we need to put our arrival in. Arrival is going to be ROSP 8C, and we are going to be on the approach for runway 25 left, and I think we're going to use, oh dear, it just says LFRB runway 25 left on the iPad, so we'll just go for ILS 25 left. Transition, I don't know. Oh, Bodil it says on there, and we execute that. And then we go to legs and just see what it tells us on here. So we go through all of this. There's a discontinuity there between Bodil and CF25L. But I'm just going to get rid of that. Yeah, there's a discontinuity at the end, but I'm not going to be too worried about that. Ah, right, that's for missed approach, basically. So that's if we go around again. So we should be all golden. Don't believe we can get clearance because there's nobody online at the minute. But what I'm going to do is go back on VPilot. And you have to file your flight plan. So that's my previous one on there. So we're going to be doing LFBO. This is just in case there's anybody online so they know what you're going to be doing. Our alternate is LFRS. Departure time in Zulu. We are an hour ahead here in the UK, so we're going to be doing 10:55 because we're going to try and get going in about 5 minutes. 1 hour 50. And cruise altitude, I think it said it was going to be 40-something thousand feet, wasn't it? Isn't it 42,000? We'll go for that. I'm going to try and put some of these in here and just see what it comes up with. We're going to go LACO 6B. And yeah, I'm going to put on there that I'm new to VATSIM just so if anybody does come across me, they know that, you know, I'm not the most experienced at this. We're going to file a flight plan. Oh, you've got to connect first. File your flight plan. Boom. Flight plan filed, and then you'll see on here, so there's center on there, which is 132.350. I don't think there's anything else to say. So I've got this button on my stick mapped here. So if I hold that down, you'll see this little thing here light up, which means that I'm transmitting, but I'm also receiving on 124.850. So I will hear myself back. So I go down here to tune, and that's what I'm going to be hearing basically. So I want to go to 122.8 because COM2 is separate to COM1, obviously. Right then, let's get the aircraft started up, shall we? Because otherwise the battery's going to die. We'll get the engine started up first, and then we'll do everything else. I believe the flight plan is all sorted. IDX, usually you can bring in your flight plan from here if you do route menu, and then you can do flight plan recall from SimBrief. But I'm pretty sure that it's got us all sorted on there. I want to make sure that these are the same legs actually. It's going straight to almost LACO, which it's saying is 293 miles away. Oh no. Oh, it's just taking us straight from LACO to Rosberg. Right, what I am going to do then, I'm going to show you this. So we are going to go to the next page on there, route menu, and then flight plan recall. And we're going to bring in, there you go, to LFBO. Wait, oh yeah, origin LFBO and then LFRB. Yeah, Laku, Chala, CNA, Manak. Yeah, it's matching everything on the iPad here. Tirav, and it should be Bagad, Rosbo. Yep, and it brings us into LFRB. That's so cool. So we execute that. So now it's properly got it. in terms of the departures and arrivals, yes, this is when we now need to choose these. So LACO 6B on runway 32 right, and then for the arrival we need to choose the ROSP 8C, and we're going to go ILS 25 left and trans via Bodil. We'll put that in, and then it's going to add those bits in now via the legs. I hope that makes sense anyway. I know I'm talking rubbish. Anyway, let's get that right engine started, shall we? Turn the master caution reset off, so we'll get the pitot and static heat on. We're going to get the wing and engine anti-ice on, and then we're going to start the left engine. Yep, I know. You can beep at me all you want, mate. In terms of a squawk code, I'm not really sure what to squawk, to be honest with you. It doesn't obviously tell us to do anything because we're not speaking to anyone here on the ground or anyone in centre. I'm going to move this off to the side here so you don't have to look at it. LFBO now has that showing, which is ExecJet 19 Charlie to LFRB, Charles Draycott. There you go. Yes, that is my full name, Charles Edward Draycott. Let's get the second engine started. And what I'm going to do now is pre-plan my pushback, although before that I'm going to go down here onto the iPad. I want to show you this as I'm doing this. So we're now going to look at the airport itself, LFBO. We're going to click on taxi, and then we're going to look at the airport information because we're going to be going out on runway 32 right, I think. Was it 32 right? Runway 32 right, origin runway. So we're going to go on the charts on here and then look at what taxiways we're on. So we've got our little purple, pink triangle thing there showing where we are. We need to come left out of here, go around this little hairpin, go that way, and then we are basically on to 32 right straight away. We're going to get on at November 2, we're going to go down Tango 11, up Papa, and then November 2, and then get on there. It's so super useful being able to have those things on here, you know. It really is. I don't know now how to get back to seeing the entire flight map. I can't remember how to do it. There we go. Done it now. So the iPad goes back down there. We are ready to go, so we're going to push back to face... Oh, we don't need to push back. We can taxi forward, apparently. Those lines say to me that I can taxi forward. So unfortunately for Mr. Tug guy, he's going to get run over. But we're going to let everybody know what we're doing. We're on Unicom, which is 122.80. If you're ever on VATSIM and there's no ATC on, you just basically announce what you're doing on there. So we're going to make sure that when I'm speaking, it's coming out of here. Yes, it is. Okay, so before we get moving, we're just going to say... Toulouse traffic be advised, ExecJet 19 Charlie taxiing to active 32 right via November. There's an aircraft there in front of me, which I think may be AI. There will be some AI traffic, but we can actually get going now. We don't need to go through the sort of rigmarole of speaking to the game's air traffic control, which is nice. Because this throttle feels really light today for some reason. But we're going to get through the gloom and the weather, and we're going to head on up to Brest LFRB. It's Brest Brittany Airport. It's a tiny little private airport, but we're just going to go up there for a nice little hop. This is essentially the flight after we've dropped our VIP off for Airbus, because Toulouse is the Airbus facility here. And I've just realised that... No, I was going to say that citation over there might come this way, but he's not going to. So we're going to go, although he might still come this way. He might turn left like that onto here. Oh no. Oh no. Please don't come down here. Yes, he's going right down there. Thank God for that. That could have got messy. So we need to go right out of here. Although we could probably go left and then we get the full length of the runway. I think we're going to do that actually. We're going to go left at November 1 rather than going down Papa 10. It is raining though, as you see. There's little spots of rain on the ground. I'm not sure if it was... Yeah, in the last video I think I mentioned it, but I've downloaded the working title mod for the Cessna Citation CJ4, which does make a lot more of the systems and everything sort of work together pretty well. Before we get going, I'm going to look at the chart for the LACO 6B departure as well, because I need to see what altitude restrictions we have. I think they will come up on the FMS as well, but we ought to just double check that. We're not under any pressure, we're not in a rush to get out of here anyway, so we may as well just check everything's right before doing it. Okay, so this is 32 right via November 1, as you see there on the sign. We're going to hold short nice and far away from the line as well. We're just going to sit here, pop the parking brake on. Just going to check the chart on this departure on here. So this is literally the chart for the departure. It's very, very straightforward. You just take off straight, you go right slightly. Now there's a 5,000 altitude restriction there, and all the way to LACO it says Yeah, basically max 250 knots between below flight level 100. So it's 5,000 feet at BO322, which it'll probably say in the FMS on here. If I check that and go to legs, yeah, BO322, 5,000. How cool is that? So a lot of this is all automated, which is lovely to see. And that's all I need to keep my eye on, basically, is whereabouts we are in that. So I'm going to add that chart to the overlay, to the map. And, oh god, I've done that thing again where I make it 3D. Ah! Okay, we're going to go flaps 1 for takeoff, which has just brought it down there. I should probably do it by clicking it on the screen. It's a little bit more entertaining. We're going to set our altitude to 5,000 feet on the screen there. And we're going to set our vertical speed to, let's say, 1,500 feet up. We're going to manually fly it. We've got Flight Director on. It knows exactly where we're going to be going, so if we click nav, we're just going to get on with it. So, to lose traffic, be advised, ExecJet 19 Charlie taxiing onto active 32 right via November 1. I may be overdoing it and not using the right terminology for that, but there's nothing on approach, there's nobody about, and it is very, very gloomy and very windy and wet. Taxiing onto 32 right now. And we're just going to get straight on with it, you know. I don't want to mess about too much. To lose traffic, ExecJet 19 Charlie departing runway 32 right. Most of the way up, and then toga. It also, the working title mod has made this aircraft sound even better. Airspeeds alive, we're doing 80 knots, 90 knots, 100 knots. Whoa! This isn't Brazil, mate. 120 knots, back on the stick. Slightly back on the throttle a little bit. Flaps coming up already. Gear coming up as well. And this is very much IFR now. We have to look at the instruments and see exactly where we're going at 0.4 until we get to the waypoint we want to go to. I'm just going to pitch the nose down slightly. Doing about 200 knots now, which is absolutely fine. We're doing about 2,000 feet up at the moment, going through 1,500 feet. The aircraft is telling us to go slightly to the right as the flight director. You've got to try and match these lines, the white and black ones with the purple ones really, because that's sort of telling you where to go. 2,500 feet. I want to go over to the right slightly. Literally can't see anything out the window, look. So this is very, very IFR, if something can be more IFR than something else. 200 knots is a nice speed as well. We're just going to be maintaining our straight line because we are 4 miles from where we want to be heading. We're breaking through some cloud here. It's getting a little bit brighter now. Going slightly off to the left. I want to just click this on here. So we get our flight plan. Yeah, we're getting within 1,000 feet of our necessary altitude. We need to level it out a little bit here. Slow it down. Nice. So when we get to this first waypoint, I'm then going to stick it on the autopilot and we'll get going. The clouds are behaving a bit weird up there. We'll get into that waypoint. When it does change over, I'm going to use my left hand to click autopilot. And the aircraft will now turn us to the right. And we'll be on our way. I realise I'm a massive amateur. Not only are we overspeeding, but I did not put my landing lights on, or my beacon, or logo lights, or the safety belts, or the seatbelt sign, and safety briefing sign. Okay, BO322, we're stuck here at 5,000 feet. We now go to Laku, and I'm pretty sure there's no restrictions at Laku. Our altitude is 43,000 feet today. At least I'm pretty sure it said it was. 43,000 feet on the flight plan, yeah. So we're going to go up to that. We're going to do it gradually though, so we are going to go 43,000 feet. That's a long way up, that, isn't it? That's the highest I've ever flown on Microsoft Flight Simulator, actually. So we're going to change it to 43,000 there. We want 2,000 feet up a minute vertical speed. There's a bit of a crosswind at the moment, 13 knots across us, but it seems okay. We're now going to climb all the way up. 43,000 feet. We're actually losing speed at the moment, so we're going to put a bit more throttle in. As you can see out the window now, it's much nicer out there. Now we're above the cloud and out of the bad weather. So not really anything to report, to be honest with you. I might just have a look and see what the situation is with ATC in the area. There is us. We've got Ryanair going over at 35,000 feet with Victor at the controls. He's going from Warsaw to Tenerife, but we are on our way up here to LFRB. Yeah, bad luck of it, there's no ATC on in this area, so we don't have to worry about it. But yeah, on our way up now to 43,000 feet. We're over 10,000 feet, so we can gun it a bit now and give it some more throttle, because now we're cleared to go over 250 knots, and we will get shimmying. I'll do some calculations when we get up there and see what sort of speeds we can do. I'm going to bring this page on here to say MEM1, which will tell us the estimated time of how long it's going to take. An hour and a half, 368 nautical miles. I think we're going to be all good for fuel and everything anyway. We're bringing that arrival time down as well as we speed up. As you can see, it's now 1 hour 21 minutes. And as we get higher up, it'll probably come down even more, to be honest. You can see the way that the aircraft is tilted, though. Look at that. Compared to that line, because we've got a 35 knot wind coming from sort of over that way at the moment. So we are slightly sideways. We're going to try and sit at about 280 knots, 290 knots. We're going to get close to 300. I'll keep my eye on that and make sure it doesn't exceed what it needs to. But we're at 12,500 feet now, climbing up to 43,000 feet. Going to go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign off, so the many VIPs in the back, as you can see, can start messing about. It's very nice inside there, isn't it? I'd love to go up in something like this, but I'm afraid my motion sickness would probably tear me a new one. Crazy to think we're not even half of the height we're going to be at the moment, isn't it? We're sitting at a steady 270, 271 knots at the moment. Arrival time has come down to about an hour. The crosswind is getting heavier and heavier as well. It's 41 knots across now. So I imagine as we get very high up, it's really going to be windy up there. Need to move the charts on the iPad a little bit more, but as you can see, if I show you on here, you'll see that the pink arrow is now moved. We're now flying way up towards Laku. Oh, I still don't know how to use an iPad. And then we've got a long run of 72 nautical miles up to Chala. But that will follow where we are. And if I click on, I think, this... No. That. It sort of does it like a sat-nav where we're in the bottom of the screen and it sort of follows where we are and it keeps us in the centre like that. Which is really cool, I think. I like it. Crosswind's getting even more vigorous now. 43 knots across. We're losing quite a bit of speed here, actually. I'm just going to give it a touch more throttle. We may as well go for it while we're up here. I've actually reached the bit on the throttle now where I have to push it quite hard because of where the afterburner click is for military aircraft. Okay, we're on our way to Chala now. We've gone past Laku, as you see here, and we now have 64.5 miles to Chala, which is the next waypoint. Then after that, we've got CNA, which is going to be one of our transitional points, Manak, Tirav, and then we're going to go past Baghdad and Rospo, and that's when we're going to start our approach. An inset approach, actually, it'll probably tell us in here, yeah, look, so for Sovim, which is one of the closer waypoints, once we get past Rospo, we have to come down to 6,000 feet. So we're going to have to really bring it down, because before you know it, we're going to be landing within a good couple of miles. So I'd say probably when we get to... It might tell us where the top of descent is on here, actually, to be fair. If I zoom this map out, it usually says Todd. There you go, top of descent. So we start... Oh, God. We start descending just before we get to Rospo. So between Baghdad and Rospo, we need to start coming down. That's basically what that tells us. Now, I don't know the most about this aircraft or how the systems work or anything else, so, you know, me telling you what's going on isn't gospel, but that's just how I understand it and how I want to sort of explain to you that I'm going ahead with it, if that makes sense. So that's just how, you know, how my brain is applying these thought processes to playing this wonderful sim. Just going to try and push the throttle a little bit more, but it's suddenly going to click forward like that. We're at full chat right now, and it's saying that we're doing 264 knots at 27,000 feet. I'm going to quickly Google what that is. So if I look for 267 knots at, let's just say 30,000 feet. Global airspeed converter. Says we're doing about 432 knots, so let's see what that's going to be when we get to 43,000 feet, shall we? That was someone over on Unicom. So it would be about 473 knots, it says, so we're going to be absolutely hauling. That message came through was UAE, which is Emirates 220. LFPG traffic, ILS established runway 08 right is what they're saying. But that's on Unicom, so again, it's just, you don't necessarily speak to air traffic control, you just sort of let them know what you're doing, or let everyone else know what you're doing. So if someone's thinking of lining up, and you tell them that you are establishing it, because they've not heard anyone else say they're doing it, then yeah. So we're at 34,000 feet now. Oh god. So we're at 34,000 feet, and look how sideways we are going. We are floating sideways at the moment, because of this crosswind. A crosswind that is 64 knots almost directly across us. Look at the angle on that. We're going properly sideways here, aren't we? Wow. And we've got sexy contrails as well because we're so high up. How cool does that look? We are so high up right now, it hurts my head. We're coming up on Chala. We're just hitting 40,000 feet now, and we're flat out. I've got it pinned, and we're doing 200 knots, and that is coming down, actually. Hopefully when we level out, it'll get a little bit better. We're going to be turning any second now as well. We're going to be just banking to the left slightly as we hit Chala. But we are flat out. We're using a lot of fuel, actually.
Altitude.
Okay, so we're within 1,000 altitude. No. We're within 1,000 feet. We're going to turn left now to Chala, so the aircraft will bank. Ready? There she goes. And to be honest, I don't want it pinned all the way there anymore. Now we're level, we're actually gaining a bit of speed as well. Yeah, you can see, look at the difference there. It now says 220 knots on there is like the maximum speed we want to be doing. So 200 is probably about fine. But we are mighty high up now, wow. I've not been this high up on this game before. I have not been over 30,000 feet, I don't think. I think me and my brother and my mate Dan did a couple of flights where we maybe went to flight level 300. We're actually banking to the right because we've got a headwind still across us. The aircraft sort of compensating for that and correcting. So we have 45 minutes till we get there, and that says, well, what, 9:29 local time, although in the game I'm pretty sure that we started at 12 o'clock. I'm enjoying this one. We're doing alright so far, I'd say, especially now I've got this all down as well, so we know the approaches and departures and stuff like that. It makes a big difference because the aircraft has a lot of it plumbed in already. Let's put some lights on. Not that they make much of a difference, to be fair. I don't really think we need them on anyway. Well, I hope you're enjoying this content as well with the Microsoft Flight Simulator stuff. I apologise for how frustrated I got with the last flight to Toulouse, but you can imagine my frustration with the ATC because it's just useless. It's been very easy to get back onto VATSIM, I must admit, and you know, everyone I've spoken to has been really friendly, really helpful. I'd just recommend that you don't do what I do and you make sure that you learn all of just the flight in general before you do jump on it. Now I know all about these departures and stuff and I can program it into there, then I'll be good, because I know that in the last video when I sat on the ground at Manchester I was trying to add it all in manually like an idiot, and you know, you can't do that. It's just not, that's not how it works. So now that I've learned my lesson with that, I know how to do it all. So yeah, I think I'll be alright. Other than extreme circumstances, you know, where something goes wrong, I think that we'll be in for a good time whenever we go flying now, and I'm going to hopefully move on to bigger aircraft as well at some point. I'll keep it varied though, you know, if we do eventually get onto your Airbuses, your 737s, maybe even bigger stuff than that, and do, you know, continental flights, or intercontinental flights I should say. We'll still, you know, hop back to the Bonanza every so often, hop back to the Citation and just see what's what, because they're just good fun to fly, you know. You can do the smaller hops in these things and It doesn't have to be a ridiculously long flight. I would like to do similar flights to this though in the Airbus, and we'll throw that around and see what's what in that, because I've got the fly-by-wire Airbus A320 and I do want to make sure that I keep flying that. I have obviously flown it off camera before, but I wanted to still sort of give you this progression because I've been learning all the VATSIM stuff in the citation for now. There was a little crackle on the radio just a moment ago. I'm not sure if there's anybody nearby. There's a Turkish thing at 40,000 feet. Kian Smith is on his way to Fuerteventura from Hamburg. No, there's no ATC on at Manchester anywhere. Look at the amount of flights that go into Manchester though. It's so cool. Heathrow's got a load going in. Gatwick as well. There's so many airports that have a massive amount of flights going in. EHAM usually has a lot in. Yep, there you go. And EDDF as well, which is probably there. Yeah, Frankfurt. We'll fly into those at some point. We'll do some mucking about, but yeah, it's just nice to look at VATSPY just to see who's around you and see what's going on. There's a couple of people going into to Brest actually. Somebody else has gone out. He's left there and he's going to Dubrovnik actually. This guy's going in from Nice to Brest. What's he flying? A20N, and he's in a Boeing 737. So you get your call sign there, your aircraft type there, obviously your name and your sort of home base is there, your pilot rating, where you're going from, where you're going to, and the altitude and then the speed. It's cool that you can see it all like that. We need to slow down a little bit because I gave it a little bit more throttle and we've now almost reached the aircraft's overspeed. We're actually going over the coast here. You can see the western coast of France just down there. How far away are we from the next waypoint? 17 miles, then 29 to Manac, and we've got Tirav after that, 35, Mokor is 49. So between Baghdad and Rospo is where we're going to start our descent, so that's when we're going to start coming down. Just need to make sure that we definitely slow it down when we do that, because there's been many a time when I have underestimated how quickly we need to get slowed down or how quickly we need to descend. So I don't want to get caught out by that again, please. As you've seen before, there's been approaches where I've been suddenly at 7,500 feet when we're about 5 miles out. Giving it a little touch more throttle right now just to try and bring the speed back up slightly, because it's sort of teetering on having to be completely pinned or coming back slightly on the throttle. I don't want to use all the fuel in the world, and we're doing quite well for time, to be honest. We've got 35 minutes till we're there, 203 nautical miles still, so plenty of time to relax. It's nice up here. And in fact, I'm actually going to use this opportunity to go and get a drink and refill, get some food, and yeah, this is the cruise part of the flight now, where we're just going to be going from waypoint to waypoint. So I'll leave you with a nice little beauty shot. I'll cut quite a bit of this out now, and next time anything comes about, well, you'll see in just a sec. So we're about halfway now, according to the charts. In terms of straight line distances, we're about halfway anyway. And I have the Aldi equivalent of a Penguin chocolate bar. I'm probably going to blur it out anyway. I don't know why, just branding's sake. If you've never had one of these, I strongly recommend them, because I'd say they're better than Penguin bars. I often say that about a lot of things that Aldi do. Their digestives are better, and their chocolate bars are a lot better as well. They're very, very good. Oh, cracking open a cold one, are we? We're actually coming up on overspeeding here, so I'm going to have to give it a touch less throttle. Just a tiny bit, just tiny bit. We've now got all of the Gatwick stuff coming up on vPilot, I'll show you. So all of the available frequencies are coming up on here, on the left hand side basically. So because we're getting closer to those airports now, it's telling us that we can speak to them if needs be. So what we would do, I mean, we're on Unicom, but we can listen in anyway. So Gatwick ground is on 121.80, so we could listen in actually, which is really cool. 121.80. If we put that in there and then we go like that, Let's see whether we hear anything. Shouldn't really do this, to be fair. You should always be...
A-line 607 Yankee, contact Gatwick Tower 124 decimal TD5 will be right to the end, holding point 2 DS1. Good afternoon.
Contact Tower 124 25, A-line.
It's cool, isn't it? I really love it. But, you know, there's nothing around us, and at the end of the day, I can keep my eye on VATSPY. There's nobody near us. There's no traffic. There's no centre. There's nothing to worry about for what we're doing here. There's a bunch of stuff going in and out of Guernsey for some reason. A lot of Origny things, so some friends maybe all flying together in there. Really is great. I love this. It makes it so much easier as well because you don't have to deal with the terrible ATC in the game. As long as you know what you're doing, you know what you want to do with your flight. I mean, you can just fly it and just be on VATSIM, just in case you see other people and so on. It can be really good. I've not turned FSLTL on, actually. I forgot to do that earlier on. I'm not going to risk doing it now. It might pump in a load of aircraft that I don't really want on my screen. And I don't think I'm going to be seeing anybody else on the ground, actually. Let's bring VATSPY up again, because wasn't somebody else flying into LFRB earlier? Them. From Nice to Brest, but we're going to be there a long time before them. We're doing alright up here at 42,900 feet. We're actually almost over the sea now. There's, well, yeah, we're just over the western coast now, look. So we're on our way to Baghdad. So if we zoom out on the menu a little bit, it doesn't say where the top of descent is anymore.
Yeah, 607 Yankee, runway 08 right, 130 take knots, good.
There you go. Someone's having a bit of a chat.
417 Unicom 168.
Yeah, we're going to tune back into Unicom now, so we're going to go on 122.800. Looking on here, London Centre 126.075, Bristol Tower, Gatwick Ground, and then we've got a load of other airports, ATIS, which is just reading out basically the information for you. Going into Baghdad now, and I'm going to start descending, I think, rather soon. I think we're going to come back on the throttle now, and we're going to start descending at 2,000 feet a minute. We're going to let this puppy drop. And we're going to get her down to, what was the aim of the altitude? Is it 6,000 feet? Yes. 6,000 feet by Sovim. So we're going to get right down all the way to 6,000 at Sovim. So we're completely off the throttle now. That camera exaggerates our descent a little bit. I think the game's being dramatic. We're literally crawling down now, letting the aircraft float back down towards the floor. Okay, so we're down to 36,000 feet now, and it says we're going to get to Rospo. Well, we're actually just about to hit Baghdad, so what that'll tell us is now how long we've got till Sovim. So if we're doing 2,000 feet a minute down, and we want to get to 6, we need to do 30, which is in about 15 minutes, and we're going to be there in about 20. So, yeah, I think we'll be alright here. I think we'll be alright at 2,200 feet down. We're still doing 195 knots, according to this screen here, so, and we're completely off the throttle. I can use spoilers as well, but you're really not supposed to use spoilers in the air, I don't think. It's all meant to be just for stuff on the ground. Because, you know, you can always just drag them a little bit out like that. Just deploy them slightly. You see the Citation's got these tiny little spoilers here that you can deploy just to slow you down that extra bit. You don't really want to be using them in the air, especially not at this sort of altitude here. You'll cause a lot of strain on the wings. And you'll only drop a couple of knots for doing that as well, you know. They're not the most effective at this sort of height. We're going to put our seatbelt sign back on.
May I have your attention, please? The captain has turned on the seatbelt sign. Please fasten your seatbelt and shoulder harness at this time.
Shoulder harness. Very fancy. So another update, we're still on our way down, and we are 27,000 feet now, apparently about 14 minutes away from where we're going to be, so we're going to tip it down a little bit more. We might gain a bit of speed doing this. As you'll see there, it's creeping up past 195 now. But I am going to just slightly bring these spoilers out. I really do need to get this slowed down now. It's very nice and smooth clouds out there. It might be very gloomy underneath said clouds as well when we finally get on the approach. But we are most of the way through the flight now. If I show you this, you'll see just how far through we are. We're just there at Baghdad, and we have almost done the entire journey at the moment. We've got one more point, which is Rospo. Then we're going to get onto the approach, and then we're going to land at LFRB. We're going to be landing at runway 25 left as well, and it looks like that approach is going to line us up beautifully. Let's zoom in on that, actually. Can we... No, we can't really see too much of it. Looks like someone's let off a nuke there. There's like a mushroom cloud. Tell you one thing, we're not exactly stacked for fuel at the minute, are we? So 4 minutes away from Rospo, 15 miles, still at 22,000 feet. But it's going to be, what, 2,000 feet a minute, so we're going to lose 8,000 by the time we get to Rospo. And we've got another 6 minutes before we get to Sovim. Although I don't believe that's right, because it can't be 6 minutes, because we're 3 minutes from Rospo and 6 minutes from Sovim. That's not right, is it? Even still, we've started our descent at Baghdad, and we're now going to be around the right height. We're just going to keep coming down until we get to 6,000, I guess. I'm going to check what the approach chart is anyway. So it says, yeah, Rospo, you actually have to be at flight level 60. And it's 60 all the way, and then when you get to RB407 you should be, I think, at 32 as it says there. Let me zoom in on that for you so you can see it a bit better. RB407 you should be at 3,200, 3,000 at Bodil, 2,000 at CF25L, and that's when you line up then for landing, basically. I'm just going to check the chart for the airport as well, actually, and just have a quick ganders at it. There's not much parking, to be fair, at Brest. It's only a small, tiny airport, so... We've literally got taxiway, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Sierra, Papa, and then there's the main apron and the general aviation. We really do need to be coming down quicker than this, I'm afraid, to Rospo, because we're going to be on it any second now. It says top of descent there, which I don't think is right. We're 5 miles from Rospo, apparently 1 minute away. We're at 15,000 feet. We're 9,000 feet above where we should be. But the top of descent thing said to start descending between Baghdad and Rospo, which seems... weird. We can probably speed... No, we don't want to speed up, do we? Someone just keyed up on 122.8. No one near me, though. A Boeing 777 going from Jersey to Guernsey. There's our journey, you can see. We've now hit the waypoint at Rospo, so we're starting our turn. And I'm going to bring the spoilers are no longer... Oh, no, they are retracted. They are down a little bit. I'm going to slow it down even more because we really need to drop our height now, because we should be at 6,000 feet at this next waypoint, and we've got 2 minutes to drop. Well, we're only going to lose about 4,000. We're going to get down to 8,000 there, so I think we're going to be making a bit of a meal of this. We're going to have to be still descending as we get down to RB410 and then RB407, which are the next waypoints. I should have descended earlier, but again, it's something that I keep getting wrong, is I descend too late. But it's all a learning process. I'm not going to get a telling off, but I just need to get it right. We've got 26 knot crosswind at the moment. Look at the aircraft. Look how sideways we are here. It thinks that we're quite far off our plan as well, which is frustrating. I'm excited to see how small this runway is as well, actually. I'm going to have a quick look again on here and just see. Airport info. 3,100 metres, this runway. So it's only 3 kilometres long. That is pretty short. Okay. 9,000 feet, 8,000 feet. Yeah, I said we'll be about 8,000 when we hit Sovim. We're currently losing 2,100 feet a minute. But we're not going to be, at stupid height when it comes to finally lining up, so I'm not too upset about that. We'll definitely be at flight level 60 or 6,000 feet by RB410, which is the waypoint after that. Well, let's tell it to get down to 3.2, shall we? I don't know why now it's not letting me do that in ones, like in 100s. Why can I only do that in thousands now? I don't know. What do I have to do? So I'm turning this here, and it's affecting this here. So we're now at 4,000 feet. We can probably smooth out this descent now to about 1,500 feet a minute. Look at this now. We're getting much lower over the countryside. To be honest, we don't really want to be this low. We actually want to be higher than this. We want to be at 6,000 for RB410, so we need to actually crack on with it. For some reason, I can't figure out why the altitude thing is only letting me do it in thousands rather than hundreds. Why? Why are you being a pig? Just behave yourself. There you go. There's probably a very simple solution to this problem where I'm missing something really obvious, but I'm having issues with the interval on control knobs, like the altitude selected knob. and FLC speed selecting knob. For example, sometimes the mouse wheel increases the altitude by thousands and sometimes by 100 without any apparent explanation. A similar thing happens with the FLC. Apparently, rotate the knob faster. If you're using the mouse wheel, scroll as fast as you can, it'll switch to thousands. Slow down, it switches to 100s. That's clearly not the case.
Altitude.
Someone said I can never get it to go up in thousands, always takes hundreds. Takes forever to dial up to 43,000 feet. Okay, so we're going to hit RB407 anyway, and then we're going to start going down now to 3,000 feet. Well, we'll go to 3,100. We're now doing a turn as we go through the cloud. Let's have a look, shall we, outside, see what this looks like. I've probably just noticed as quickly as you have that I've still got the speed brakes on. Oh dear. So we're at 7,200 feet. We need to come down to 3,000. I've made a bit of a mess of this approach at the moment, I'm afraid. So we're going to be at 3,000 at Bowdill. 3,100 is what we've got on the screen. We've only got one more turn and then we're on to the final approach actually. We've got Bowdill and then CF25, FF25 and then runway 25. So there you go. We really do need to come down, don't we? Come on, drop, pig. Let's get them speed brakes back on. The camera started jumping. Stop it. Okay, we've hit Bowdill, so now we're going to be approaching. Breast traffic, ExecJet 19 Charlie, lined up runway 25 left. Correction, on final runway 25 left. That's gone out on Unicom, 122.80. We're in 2,400 feet down. We want to be at 2,000 feet now when we get to the next waypoint. Right, well, we can't see anything. Look at the weather here. Poor visibility. We're going to get our landing lights on. Seatbelt sign and everything's on. We've got our speed brakes out. We are dropping speed, but we are dropping a lot of height as well. Should have the airfield in sight soon. Ooh. There. There she is. We're going to get the gear down. We're also going to get the flaps down. We're going to get those speed brakes retracted now, and we're going to hand fly this puppy in, everybody.
Autopilot.
Take the autopilot off. Aircraft is all mine. We're going to sort of hold this speed now. We're going to try and hold about 160 knots. This is actually the time, especially in bad conditions like this, where I regret having these ring lights on to light up my beautiful face. Because I cannot see the damn airfield. You probably can, but I've looked away and now I can't see it. Oh no, I can see it. There it is. 165 knots. We're dropping 1,000 feet a minute. We can probably smooth out that descent as well. This is going to be a small airfield, this, so we're going to need to really drop it. I'm going to put the speed brakes up when we hit the ground as well. I've got a switch on here, so you won't see me sort of click them and flick them on. Breast traffic, ExecJet 19 Charlie on short final runway 25 left. Okay, we're doing about 150 knots now. We could do with a bit more speed. Might actually go full flaps for this. We're going to, yeah. Going to put another notch of flaps in. Look at that, we've just gained a load of height. We're actually gaining height now, so we need to drop the nose. I get really excited by the landings. I love landings. That's kind of why I enjoy doing short hops. You know, the cruise bit isn't the most interesting. It's the takeoff and landing and the ground bit either side. We're doing 130 knots, man. We are going to be coming to a stop very quickly when we hit the ground here. It's a long old approach because of this tiny amount of speed. We're still dropping speed as well. It's just make sure we're maintaining our speed, if anything. We're only dropping a tiny bit of altitude at a time. You can see by the green line here, if I can just about show you that in time. Got a bit of a crosswind. We're lined up slightly to the left. So we're just going to lean it gradually to the right, nice and gentle. On and off the throttle quite a bit here, just to maintain a bit more speed. It's the slowest approach I've done in this aircraft, though. I've not done a full flaps approach in it before. I've only ever used sort of flaps 1 and come in at about 150, 160 knots. And again, I'm going to be warbling now because I'm going to keep this bit uncut in the video so you can see the whole approach and how it all goes. You know, I don't want to cut anything out and pretend that this is all smooth sailing and that I'm very good at it. I mean, it's all going okay so far. I'm just pulling back on the stick a tiny bit just to keep the nose pointed up because we're going so slowly. We do need to start dropping a bit more height though. We're quite high here. We've got 2 white, 2 red on the pappies though by the look of it. Now we're going to start letting this puppy drop.
500.
Thank you. See the apron and everything in sight now. there is a crosswind to the left here, so I'm getting dragged over that way a bit. We're having to keep leaning it right. Ooh, the nose dropped a bit there. Now we've got to go over to the left slightly. The wind is weird, man. It's going one way, then the other. Aim for the white marks on the runway, the chunky ones. Start flaring it out now. Gradually off the power. And just let it drop. Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. Lovely. Butter. The lights are floating off the runway for some reason. We are not going to need those speed brakes. Wow, are we going to get off at the first taxiway? We absolutely are. Okay, welcome to Brest, everybody. Let me just get the airport chart up on here so I can figure out which taxiway we're off at. We're going to be off at Delta. Brest traffic, ExecJet 19 Charlie has vacated runway 25 left at Delta. There's some sort of AI aircraft sat there. So we're going to ignore him. But then I'm going to turn right here, which is probably a bit naughty. I know it's not proper, but I didn't want to drive through him. And then we're going to go off this apron around this way. Oh well, we're going to taxi down. Going to put our taxi lights on instead of landing. We're going to turn here. Oh, overshot it slightly. My bad. This is the main ramp. But we're not going to need any of the ones with auto gate, so I think we might be able to get away with one of the spots around here if we follow it around this way. Actually, I want to make sure we get a parking spot with the guys. Bear with me. I should have thought about this. We should have held short as we came off the runway. Bear with me. Okay, I've had a look, and they're actually over here. I was going in the right direction anyway, so yeah, they're waiting for us just around the corner here. I hope you've enjoyed this flight, though. It's been a nice one, hasn't it? It's been really straightforward. Now I've got the charts and everything, and I can, you know, I just feel like I can do things a lot more properly. And now I've learned the aircraft a little bit more as well. I feel a lot more confident in it. They're not this one. I think they're the next one. Yeah. The next little turning here. There's a little line you'll see on the ground. I don't think we're going to go for that, though. We don't need to follow that because that's for bigger jets. We just need to follow this yellow line here. And there you can see the guy with his wands. And he's telling us to go straight. Not quite on that line perfectly there. Luckily that guy's walked out of the way. He was stood in the way before. And we're going to roll up to these guys telling us to keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. Going to give it a tap or two with the brakes just to get it stopped. And he says stop. Give it a tiny touch more. And there we go. Nice. Okay, we're going to start shutting stuff down. Then we can turn the taxi lights off. Logo and strobe can come off as well. Parking brake is on. We've got the flaps all the way up, so we can just turn the engines off now. Right engine coming off first, and then left. And that is us at Brest in France. That was a lovely flight. Part of the sort of the two legs that I want to do, bringing it back from Nice to then Toulouse to then Brest, and then we're going to go back up to Manchester eventually, which is where our sort of home base is for our aircraft. I'm not going to be keeping the Bonanza there because that's just going to be, you know, it's a tiny, tiny little aircraft. Oh, there's our mate. Oh no, I can't. There you go. There's our mate that we were almost head-to-head with a minute ago taking off. I believe it's an AI aircraft anyway. I don't think it's on VATSIM. But yeah, I really enjoyed that flight. Great little airport to fly into as well. The approach was lovely. The cruise was gorgeous, and it was all very straightforward. Admittedly, yes, there wasn't much ATC. It's technically still a flight on VATSIM, but we just didn't have as much sort of lively commentary and ATC along the way as I would have liked. But still, I really hope you've enjoyed that. I will be doing more of these. I feel a lot more confident in the CJ4 now, and now I don't have to deal with the terrible ATC of this game. I think I'm going to be a very happy boy from this point forward. So, that's all for now. Thanks very much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you in the next episode.